Good morning, I'm Jackie Jing in for Ann Cutler. Welcome to the 411. Uncommon Construction is a nonprofit organization founded in early 2015. Their mission, give high school students hands-on construction experience through their apprenticeship program. Students from 4 different high schools come together for sessions after class and on the weekend, building a house from start to finish over the course of a semester. They also earn hourly pay, get high school credit, and develop transferable job skills. Recently, philanthropists Brooke and Pam Smith gave Uncommon Construction a $300,000 check to help better and expand their program. An exciting development for the nonprofit. Here to talk more about their mission and this new donation is founder and executive director Aaron Fruman. Good morning. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Okay, quite the generous donation. How did this all come to be?
So really like an only in New Orleans story. I had some friends from out of town. We happened to be on Bourbon Street on a Sunday afternoon because they'd never been there before, and we were fortunate enough to run into Brooke and Pam at a bar where I happened to know the bartender.
Okay.
And so he asked me what I did for a living. I gave him the brief, basically what you just said about Uncommon Construction, and they immediately saw our vision, heard it, said, you know, it sounds like you just need to get some wind in your sails. How much does it take to sponsor a house? We told them what number that was, and then after several more conversations, another trip down, meeting with some of our board members and talking a little bit more about it, Brooke said, you know, we've been talking about this number, but what do you really need? What's the number that takes Uncommon Construction into orbit?
Yeah.
What's the number that makes this thing happen? And that's when we said $300,000, and we talked about it for a minute or two. And by the time we were done with our beers, Brooke just shrugged and said, well, I guess we'll just do the whole thing then. And you know, from there, we just kind of kept talking a little bit, and we were fortunate to have Brooke come down with his son Grayson, share the job site with our apprentices. What's really exciting about it is Brooke and Pam really know our model, right? Brooke has a background in and around construction and development.
Okay.
His wife Pam is a former primary elementary school teacher. So it was just so serendipitous, and like I said, only in New Orleans, that we'd like happen to be in the same bar on Bourbon Street on a Sunday afternoon with these generous and enthusiastic people who are ready to give us this level of support.
And we were just showing the photo of the big check that you guys got. What was running through your head when you're like, wow, I actually have this and this is really gonna start going here?
Yeah, you know, so for me it's been a journey, a 10-year journey. I got to this point. This is definitely not where I thought I would be growing up. And you know, I came to New Orleans in 2005 as a Red Cross volunteer after Hurricane Katrina. I went on to join AmeriCorps. I worked for Habitat for Humanity for several years, and I became a teacher through Teach for America. So this is a way that we're bundling one program to try and solve a myriad different problems while providing a rigorous experience for high schoolers. And since we started and founded this program, we haven't really been asking for money, right? We've done some crowdfunding campaigns and pitch competitions as a startup in New Orleans, but have really spent a majority of the last year or so focusing on building a program that's worth funding. There are plenty of organizations out there and funding opportunities that are out there that aren't quite solving the need that exists both for workforce and for high school students. 81% of high school dropouts say that real-world relevant learning opportunities would keep them in school.
Yeah. And
so we're taking that to the next level by also adding the employment piece, right? And the professional coaching and soft skill development in that real-world learning environment. And so for me, you know, having really focused on trying to build a program that is rigorous and thoughtful and intentional and human-centered in the way that we implement, was just so validating and super unexpected to be like, wow, these guys share this vision with us, and we're on the right track, right? We're doing the right things by kids, and a program that's needed, and we're going to be able to continue doing it with our apprentices and our youth where they belong, at the center of it, instead of bending or changing our program to meet some funding need or something like that. We get to continue doing it in a thoughtful way that thinks about the experience of our apprentices.
Okay, and we have some video up, I think, of what actually happens with this program. Could you tell me a little bit more about it? Like, what do the kids actually do? What do they partake in? What do they learn?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the pictures that are up are from some of the early things that we did with kids. But essentially, on Tuesday after school, we come together and do team building, leadership development. We go on field trips to training facilities. We went to Lowe's and did a scavenger hunt so they can learn how to do a material takeoff. So there's math and reading embedded in the activities that we do with kids. So there's an educational component that they're not going to get at an entry-level position or an internship housed with a regular construction company. We can create those spaces. And the cool thing about working with kids while they're currently in school, as opposed to waiting until they graduate or potentially after they drop out and become disengaged, is we can use that time while they're in school to prepare the job site for maximum impact on Saturdays. So while the kids are in school, we're laying out all the wall plates and where all the windows and doors go, so that when our apprentices show up and they join volunteers and staff members on the build site, they see a tremendous amount of progress from the start of the day to the end of the day. So our kids' first day as a team, their first time coming together and working as a team together, they build all the walls to a house in a day. So we go from a flat floor system to a three-dimensional structure that they've played a critical role in building. And so the technical skills happen because, you know, they bend 50 nails in the first hour and they have no choice but to get better at it in order to achieve that goal. But it's really by struggling, by thinking through the process, by working on bite-sized projects on a team of 2 or 3 of your peers, college-age volunteers or adult mentors on the job site, that they get to apply the kinds of soft skills that encourage them to solve problems and persevere and develop grit and you know, share an experience with people who are different from them, and then reflect on it after.
Okay. So we have about 30 seconds here. I just wanted to ask you, you know, it's been about a year. What have you really gotten out of this personally? I mean, how much have you seen grow with this program? Yeah,
the coolest thing for me is to watch that arc for our students from the start to the end. And I think about Diet, who's a 16-year-old at International High School, who's one of our apprentices this semester. And when she started, you know, she was choking up on her hammer and, you know, felt a little bit out of place, right? She had a jacket with like a fur neck on it. And, you know, you could tell she was like, oh, what did I get myself into? Yeah. And now she shows up on a Saturday and I give her 6 college volunteers and she's the leader. Right? Yeah. And she's in charge and she's on quality control and doesn't mind taking it down. And she has this like team of volunteers who are following her at 16. Wow. And when she reflects, hearing her reflect on her experience and then being able to see it in the context of this big tangible change and project that we're all building together is just so cool, and we get to invest in that. So I'm grateful to be part of that in some way.
Fantastic program, Aaron. Thank you so much for talking with us. If you want to learn more about Uncommon Construction and their high school apprenticeship program, go to our website, WGNO.com, and click on the 411. Up next, how your kids can explore the globe at the Louisiana's Children's Museum and an inside look at the Children's World's Fair. Coming up.